High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for our fourth and final game of the Old School Jam Classic. Please welcome our guests from Timber Creek High School. They are the Wolves. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this afternoon, we ask that you please stand as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. And now, let's meet the teams, beginning with our guests from Timber Creek and starting at guard with 5' senior number 1, Jasmine Chima. At guard, 5'7" senior number 2, Ayanna Dixon. At guard, 5'7" sophomore number 3, Isabella Spence. At guard, 5'9" sophomore number 5, Karishma Ortiz. And finally for the Wolves, at forward and center, 6'4" sophomore number 23, Channing Warren. And the head coach of Timber Creek, Sarah Nuxel, with assistant coaches Jay Harris and Celine Vega. And now let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting at guard, at 5'7" junior number 0, Jade Lewis. At forward, 6' senior number 15, Rylan Moffitt. At guard, 5'9" senior number 22, Shania McCarthy. At forward, 6'1" senior number 32, Kanari Holiday. And finally for the Mustangs at guard, 5'6" sophomore number 10, Jada Eads. The head coach of the Mustangs, Mr. Tommy Butts, with assistant coaches Latoya Russ, Keisha Brown-Griffin, Robert Moultrie, and George Spearman. The officials for this afternoon's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. Today's game is being broadcast live on YouTube as well as the NFHS network. If you have friends and family who are not able to join us in person and they would like to participate, just direct them to open up the YouTube app on their favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device and search for Wekiva Sports. We also simulcast on the NFHS network. And welcome to Mustang Arena. Welcome to those of you who are joining us on YouTube or the NFHS network, as we're going to open with 3 from Shania McCarthy to put the Mustangs on the board. Gosh, I haven't even had a chance to introduce myself, and Shania McCarthy has already preempted me. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs and sports information director here at Wekiva High School, joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, and we'll be taking you through this afternoon's final contest in our quadruple header of the Old School Jam Classic.
Absolutely, Mark, and of course the big question as Eads launches, no dice, Moffitt. The Windex work the spin in the
Rylan Moffitt on the second chance basket.
So the question is, how does Wekiva respond? They lost their first game of the season after 14 victories. The final, Eads picks up that loose ball, and down to the races we go. Holiday taking the pass and floats the deuce.
Kanari Holiday from Shania McCarthy.
That was the final of the Florida Prospects Christmas tournament.
And Pinkerton from Ohio, I mean, it's always hard to compare because you don't see Ohio and Florida rankings on the same chart ever, but certainly as we get a three-point basket from Isabella Spence to put the Wolves on the board, Pinkerton is about as good of competition as you can get, and that actually did knock Wekiva down one notch below St. Thomas Aquinas in the Max Preps overall rankings for 6A. But certainly, if you're Tommy Butts, you really don't care so much about where your Max Prep ranking is at this particular moment. You're more concerned with preparing your team as Jade Lewis adds 3 for the Mustangs. And that final of the Florida Prospects Diamond Division was about as tough of preparation as you can get as you start thinking about postseason play. J.D. Eads gets the steal, and Eads is fouled on the way up. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The foul is called against Wolves number 1, Jasmine Chima. That's her first and the team's first.
Yeah, and then to further complicate the situation, Mark, Wekiva was supposed to play Jones on Wednesday. That game got postponed, and it was postponed at the very last minute Tuesday night. So Coach Butts his question was, how do we respond? So far, 10-3 lead. Certainly Wekiva has responded as well as possible.
30-second timeout called by Timber Creek.
Mustang Arena, the site, a blazing quick, strong start for the Mustangs, the home team. The fourth of 4 games being played today at Mustang Arena, a 10-3 lead. We talked about, before going to the break, Wekiva suffered its first loss of the season after 14 consecutive victories to Pickerton Central of Ohio. That was the final of the Florida Prospects Championship Tournament held right here at Mustang Arena. And then, of course, the game against Jones was postponed at the very last minute, and Wekiva with that 12-3 lead has certainly answered the question with an A++ mark. Looking at the stats real quick, 3 turnovers for Timber Creek, Wekiva 4 of 4, and I think that's really all you need to really hear to explain how Wekiva is off to that 12-3 lead.
So now the Wolves will try to get their sea legs out from under them, and we had that timeout early on to try to right the ship, and Wekiva going into that zone defense, and Timber Creek is a little bit stymied, looking for a way around it.
Yeah, again, not only was an issue of refining their game for Wekiva, but turning off their rust as the drive and score the deuce for Spence.
Basket by Isabella Spence. And so the Wolves wait patiently for the right opportunity, and it pays off for them in that drive.
Moffitt down low in the paint to Howland, back to Eads, the leading scorer. She stopped, pops, and drops.
Jada Eads from the baseline for the Mustang J.
Wekiva back up by 9, 14-5. They continue to shoot well. 5 of 5 from the field, have yet to miss a field goal. Timber Creek trying to answer. Chima to Ortez. Eads again, the defense playing its part, and she will draw the foul as she slashes and dashes from the left side of the brim.
J.D. Eads fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Foul is called against Isabella Spence on the block, her first, the team's second.
So Eads, the leading scorer, she has already made her presence felt with 3 points. Eads comes into this game averaging over 21 points. And, of course, she was the leading scorer last year as a freshman. And now Coach Butts brings in Amaria Gordon as Rylan Moffitt will get some time on the bench to rest. Lead now up to 10, make that 11, 2 of 2 from the field.
I'll really make that 4 of 4 from the free throw line. She has cashed in both of the last times she's been there. 16-5 now the lead as Ortiz tries to get there and picks up a foul. Mustang hold is called against Amaria Gordon, her first, the team's first. Wolves ball at the opposing baseline. Into Warren, and she'll go long to the other end. Nothing in the corner.
Rotating to the left side, back up to Spence. Spence holds it now over to Rids. So
And again, it seems that Timber Creek is perfectly satisfied to patiently wait until they see the right opportunity.
And there is that opportunity, drawing the foul. And that'll send Ortiz to the line.
Block is called against Amaria Gordon, her second, the team's second. And at the line shooting 2 is number 5, Karishma Ortiz.
And with Ortiz at the line, Moffitt now ready to check in. Wekiva, again, off to that blazing start, scoring the 10 of the first 13 points.
Rylan Moffitt returns to the game for the Mustangs. Also into the game for Timber Creek, number 15.
And Coach Butts, we talked about how Wekiva looking to rebound to get back onto the winning track after losing against Pickerington Central of Ohio. And they came out a bit rusty. Do they have rustiness is a question, as one of their games was canceled. But Coach Butts specifically said we need to rebound well. No dice for Holiday. Gordon going to work, can't get it. She's out-rebounded by Ortiz and will come back the other way. That's the first miss from the field for Wekiva. And now Timber Creek, an opportunity, the first opportunity to cut into Wekiva's lead and kind of settle down after that 10-3 start, falling behind 10-3.
Rios was open in the corner, but couldn't quite spin it around fast enough before McCarthy got there.
Ortiz trying to drive that left lane, runs into a three-man wall, and now Ridge will reset the offense. Mustang Arena, home of Wekiva in the white jerseys, a launch.
Good screen picked up there by Warren, and it gave an opening to Rios to take that tray, but just couldn't get it to convert, and now Eads at the other end, but also missing.
Doing Windex work is Moffitt, who makes the withdrawal.
Rylan Moffitt adds 2 for the Mustangs.
So Moffitt doing strong work on the rebounding, almost on cue. I talked last possession that rebounds was something Coach Butts was not happy with. And now, speaking of rebounds, Coleman rips down another one. As we come back the other way, Eads resets the offense, takes the ball herself. Too much umph. And credit the rebound to Rios. And now Timber Creek trailing by 12, 2.5 before the end of the first quarter. We are live from Mustang Arena, home of the Wekiva Mustangs, 14-1. This is Ortiz, top of the key. Back to Warren, and the drive from Ortiz, and she ran into a host of Mustangs. Someone got a hand on that. Eads, Moffitt picks up the loose ball, and yes, she does save it. Coleman fighting, can't come up with it.
Yeah, that's a little bit poetic justice, because I think J.D. Eads got away with a slide there at half court. Not that it was any fault of hers. She really didn't have anywhere else to go. And the jumper from Ortiz doesn't fall. Holiday is there to bounce it to Eads on the rebound. She'll go straight to the paint herself, let it go, and Jada Eads through traffic for 2. And she is just unstoppable when she finds a path through the paint.
Yeah, and Wekiva's shooting only 77%, 7 of 9. And yes, I do say that with sarcasm.
Yeah, I'm sure Tommy Butts is going to want to work on that at halftime.
So the drive.
Rough pass, bounces off of Henderson. Tiara Coleman is there to pick it up quickly, loses her dribble, though. Canary Holiday bails her out.
And McCarthy, who really has not been a factor. That's the first time we've even called her name, Mark. A bit of a surprise for the senior. But nonetheless, Wekiva still with that 20-6 lead. Down back to McCarthy, who spins and drops the deuce from 8 feet.
McCarthy spins for a 2 from the baseline.
8 of 10 now for Wekiva. They continue to up that field goal percentage. They made their first 5 field goals. And Coleman getting her hands on that ball but can't come up with it. And that's going to lead to a very poor shot. No balance.
Yeah, that's one of those Henderson, where Canary Holiday doesn't officially get a block for that because she never made contact with the ball. But boy, did she discombobulate the Wolves.
Moffitt doing more offensive Windex work.
Held ball. Possession Wolves. And now we get a fire drill as we get everybody for everybody else.
Yeah, on both sides. 24 seconds remaining. Wekiva broke out to a 10-3 lead. They now have a 22-6 lead. Timber Creek, if they so choose, will have the opportunity to get the last say. It looks like that's what they're going to do. Again, Mark, you mentioned this is a more patient team in terms of when they take their shots than most teams. 10 seconds now. Timber Creek still looking to get something inside, and there it is. But blocked. Moffitt, I believe, got the rebound, and Wekiva's not going to be able to get that last shot. But they do a great defensive work, and they'll head into that second quarter momentum with a 22-6 lead.
That takes us to the end of the first quarter. The Mustangs with a 16-point advantage at the end of 8 minutes. 22-6 is the score at the end of 8 minutes.
And we begin the second quarter. Wekiva, which will be in the white, they have not come out quite yet. They have a 22-6 lead over Timber Creek in the color, the light gray jerseys. Wekiva staking that lead 10-3. And really, two stats stick out. 8 of 11 from the field for Wekiva as they begin the second quarter with possession, and 5 turnovers for Timber Creek. And, of course, you don't have to be a basketball guru, Mark. That's Mark Barchi. I'm Neil Fisher to understand when the opponent's committing turnovers.
And check is called against number 1, Jasmine Chima. That's her second personal foul, the team's third.
Turnovers lead to easy field goals. And, again, Wekiva 8 of 11 as we begin the second quarter. Make Windex work for Canary Holiday. 2 offensive rebounds. Can't get either to drop. So that will lower the percentage a little bit. But, Mark, I always say, as we go the other way, this is Timber Creek. They're looking to drive, and there's a drive.
Canary Holiday gets the rebound, but she was standing on the baseline as she rebounded it, so not a turnover. That'll officially just be a team offensive rebound for Timber Creek.
So as I was saying, Mark, if you're getting 2 offensive rebounds every time you have a possession, I think the coaches will be happy to take that because the odds are more times than not in terms of those possessions, you will score.
And Jada Eads comes in for Rylan Moffitt, who was holding her jaw. I'm not sure, maybe she bit the inside of her cheek and was bleeding. So she heads back to the locker room to take care of that. And Eads comes in to replace her. And also picks up the steal coming off of Stokes, who had a bad bounce pass. Will go the other way. Wide open in the corner is Lewis, and she scores. Jade Lewis for 3.
And just that quickly, the lead up to 19, 25-6. Timber Creek still trying to get some penetration. They've only been able to do it a couple of times. This is Ortiz one-on-one with Coleman. And the ball comes loose, picked up though, shot, no dice. And McCarthy, the senior, will lead the charge the other way after grabbing the rebound. And now, for the first time in this game, we see Wekiva take a minute to take a breath.
Eads lets one go from the paint, can't get it, tries for her own putback. That's not there either, and the rebound goes to Stokes. And if you look out horizontally at the court, you see that Jade Eads is just about the shortest girl out there, and yet she makes herself so much taller in those rebounding situations. Now we're going to get a foul coming the other way. Foul called against number 21.
So
her first, the team's 4th.
So the leading scorers coming into this game for Timber Creek, Ortiz and Warren, they've averaged 23 points plus per game. They've been held to just 1 point total through the first 10 minutes. So, again, that's another stat. If you're Coach Butts, you got to smile about that. Of course, Coach Butts, his teams are known for defense. The turnover, and no, that is not a turnover. It's a foul.
No, it's actually a timeout. Coach Butts
timeout.
called it before the ball was swatted away.
And Coach Butts didn't like what he saw.
And he was right.
And we will take a break from Mustang Arena. 25-6, Wekiva in the lead, 6 minutes exactly before halftime.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher for this game that so far has been easy sailing for the Mustangs. We'll see if the Wolves can come up with some answers here. Tommy Butts saw that play unraveling quickly and called timeout just in time to get it in before Wekiva would have inevitably lost the ball there.
Wekiva taking a 10-3 lead. They're now up 25-6. And
now they lose it anyway as Henderson picks up the steal.
Third turnover for Wekiva. Timber Creek was 6. It's Timber Creek now going to work, trying to cut into that lead. 5:40, second quarter.
Again, we see that patience. Waiting for the opportunity, running into Holiday, can't get anything, pops it back out. 3 released by Decay, not there. Kanari Holiday, nice two-handed rebound under the board. Keeps it away from Henderson, and the Mustangs go to work.
And Wekiva go back to the lead. Eakes brings it up beyond half court, hands off to Coleman. Now Lewis at the top of the key. That's down to Holiday. She's going to go one-on-one on the baseline. No dice. Good defense.
A little contact there, but it's a no call. Warren gets the rebound.
Into the corner. And now Timber Creek will bring it up to the top and reset. And the whistle.
Tierra Coleman is called on illegal hands. That's her first, the team's third.
5 minutes before halftime. Timber Creek inbounds the ball. Spence will bring it into play. Duque. Back to Ortiz at the top of the key. And this is Spence, the leading scorer for Timber Creek with 5 points. Each steps in front like a defensive back, off to the races, and score the new.
Coast to coast to steal 2. 10 points in the books for her today. A little bit of a slow start. She had to go to the free throw line a couple of times to get started. But since then, she has definitely been putting up her typical figures.
9 of 18 from the field for Wekiva.
Now picked up by McCarthy, has a chance to go all the way. And she does. Shania McCarthy steals the Mustang layup. So twice in a row we've seen that play. Once from the left side, once from the right side. Once from Eads, once from McCarthy.
And Timber Creek launches. No dice. Under the boards, Eads.
Nice job by Eads getting the ball. She knew she couldn't get the rebound, didn't quite have the height, but she was able to bounce it off of Henderson to secure the possession anyway, as Rylan Moffitt now returns to the game for Tierra Coleman. So she has resolved whatever issue she was having backstage.
And talked about Coach Butts' forte is turnover, defense. When you play good defense, you come up with turnovers, and turnovers lead to easy shots, easy field goal shots in terms of the look, getting in. And throughout this season, Coach Butts has talked as Eads is going to launch.
Short on that one.
Eads has talked. Coach Butts has talked about the per quarter's average Wekiva's given up. It is under 10 points, and they're on
Holiday
target.
with a little dribble action there, gets it to Jade Lewis. who can't pick up the dribble, so the Mustangs are going to forfeit the transition opportunity, but they will get a half-court set here. McCarthy has an opportunity, pops it back to Holiday, who draws the contact from behind. Foul called against Wolves number 5, Charisma Ortiz. That's her first personal foul, the team's 5th. Kanari Holiday going to the line to shoot 2. And checking into the game for the Mustangs, Soraya Hercule.
So Wekiva, getting back to my point about giving up points per quarter, they are giving up 9.6 points per quarter, Mark, and that's with the loss to Pickerton. Moffitt doing Windex work, strong rebound. Holiday picks up that loose ball, and unfortunately she can't corral it, though. So Wekiva lets an opportunity to get a second chance point go by the wayside, but they're still up 29-6, 3 minutes before halftime. The boys won in the first game against Timber Creek. So they up their record to 5-6. Wekiva once again looking to go 15-1, and this will certainly help.
Jada Eads coast to coast to steal the Mustang layup. 12 now for her, and the Mustangs at this rate will run the entire second half under a running clock.
Yeah, 10 turnovers now for Timber Creek. The rejection at the other end, but a foul as well.
Block is called against Kanari Holiday. Her first, the team's 4th. That will send Channing Warren to the line to shoot 2. And yeah, Holiday there had all ball on her swiping action, but the body made contact. And so that was quite an accurate call there by the official for the foul. And first free throw goes in.
Cuts the lead to 31-7. And now Warren with her first points of the game. Ortiz and Warren both scoring double digits, and they both have 1 point, 2.5 before halftime, and that loose ball is going to be picked up.
Yeah, Washington gets that, and we had a little fire drill there during the free throw shooting. Chima, Dixon, Rios, and Washington coming in for Timber Creek, as well as Warren, who is at the line remaining in the game, and now too much mustard on that pass, and Rios never had a chance to reel that one in. And now finally we will substitute out the 5th player for Timber Creek. Checking into the game for the Wolves, number 21, Janisha Stokes.
And with McCarthy now handing back to Eads. Also talked to Coach Butts before the game, and he talked about just with that day off, again, the game against Jones was canceled. That game was supposed to take place Wednesday night as we get a whistle.
10 seconds in the backcourt, Wolves ball.
He used those couple of extra days to just work on the fundamentals of basketball. Certainly looks like that has helped Wekiva. The 31-7 lead, 2 minutes before halftime. Double team.
Hot pass, Chima reels it in though. We dip under 2 minutes remaining in the first half.
Back up to the top of the key. The two-man game between Washington and Chima.
Gordon runs into a good screen, but Eads on the steal and the layup. Jada Eads steals 2 for the Mustangs. So I was just about to compliment the screen that Stokes put up, which was legitimately good, but then Eads was there on the other end of the court.
And near steal. And now it is a steal. Moffitt picks up that loose ball, gives it to McCarthy, leading the charge. She'll take it herself. Slash dash in the foul.
McCarthy fouled on the attempt. She'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Wolves foul is called against number 10, Annalise Rios. That's her first personal foul and the team's 6th. So that also means that Wekiva will enjoy the benefit of bonus for the next 74 seconds if it should become a factor.
And the turnovers continue to mount for Timber Creek. They now have 13. Wekiva with only 4. 1:14 before halftime. Wekiva took the lead, scoring 10 of the first 3 points. 5 of 5 from the field, set up by 3 turnovers. And Moffitt snagging the rebound, spins, can't get the deuce to drop, but a repeat from Gordon, and she'll reset the offense with 1 minute left. Bad pass. Hercule gets, no, she does not get away with it. Look for a second, she was. And now Timber Creek will go to work, trailing 34-7, under a minute. The drive from Chena finds an open Stokes, who drops the deuce.
Chima to Michaela Stokes for 2.
So Wekiva gets right back to work after the lead is cut in 2. 35 seconds. McCarthy at the top. Now to Lewis. Down low to Moffitt, who spins to her left. Does not get the deuce, but will go to the line. 27.3 seconds.
Foul called against number 22, Michaela Stokes on the pusher. First personal foul of the team, 7th at the line. Shooting for the Mustangs, number 15, Rylan Moffitt.
Moffitt with 4 points. And again, we talked throughout this first half that Wekiva had a couple of questions after losing to Pickerington Central of Ohio. And then they had the game against Jones canceled the other way. Score that deuce for Stokes.
Stokes on the pass from Chima once again.
And one of those questions was rebounding. Coach Butts still not happy with the team's effort. It's been good, but not championship effort. And certainly Moffitt has stepped up in the first half of this game. She has 6 or 7 rebounds, as with only 0.8 of a second left, she also draws the foul and goes to the line.
Hold is called against Wolves number 1, Jasmine Chima, her 3rd. The team's 8th, Rylan Moffitt at the line, shooting 1-on-1 bonus. So actually it wouldn't have mattered even if you did not have a top shelf clock operator like yours truly and the clock had expired. She still would have gotten to go to the free throw line. The difference being that she wouldn't have anybody in the key waiting with her. So she makes the first. Not the second, though.
Does that basket count? No. The refs wave it off immediately, but a strong finish after a strong start to the quarter. Wekiva 10-3 so far, answering the questions which arose after losing to Pickerington Central last week, 36-11.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. We are getting ready to start the second half, where the Mustangs have been dominant so far. The Wolves have the opening possession of the third quarter.
Yeah, Wekiva begins the second half with a 36-11 lead. They scored 10 of the first 13 points, 5 of 5 from the field, and 3 turnovers, of course, helping get some easier shots. This is Timber Creek with possession. They will not get that first shot. Looked like someone got a hand in there. And now Wekiva with an opportunity to score the first points of the second half. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, McCarthy launches, and rims in and out. And snagging that loose ball was Stokes. Hands it off to Dixon. So both teams beginning the second half with the field goal attempt that does not drop. And the foul.
Mustang foul called against number 15, Rylan Moffitt. Her first, the team's first. That sends Channing Warren to shoot 2.
So Warren goes to the line with 1 point. Warren, the leading scorer for Timber Creek. She's been held to 1 point. The second leading scorer, Ortiz, has also been held to 1 point. And McCarthy picks up that loose ball, and we will come back the other way. 36-12 now. The lead for Wekiva, and Holiday shot does not count.
Offensive foul is called against Canary Holiday. Charge taken by Channing Warren. That's Holiday's second personal foul, the team's second.
So mentioned Wekiva began the game 5 of 5, and they wound up 13 of 23 in that first half, so shooting over 50%. Got off to that blazing quick start and continued as another turnover. And I was just about to bring up the turnovers, Mark.
Well, they added one for you.
Yeah. So once again, that 5 of 5 shooting, not entirely, but a good majority, was the result of 3 turnovers over those first 5 possessions. 13 in that first half for Timber Creek as Moffitt turns around, slides in and out, and tracking down that loose ball is Ortiz. Neither team yet to score in this second half. Of course, Wekiva far more in a far better position to afford not being able to convert these field goals with the 20-plus lead. And there's another turnover picked up by Lewis. Dishes to McCarthy and contact and the foul on McCarthy.
Charge taken by Ayanna Dixon, called against Shania McCarthy. That's her first personal foul, the team's third. It turns the ball over to the Wolves.
So as you just heard Mark mention, it's Mark Barchi, our public address announcer. I'm Neil Fisher. Only 3 fouls on Wekiva, but that could be a problem because we're only 1 minute and 42 seconds into the second half.
30-second timeout called by the Mustangs.
So when we come back, 36-12, Wekiva still with a 20-plus point lead.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher for the last 6 minutes and 18 seconds of the third quarter as Wekiva has had a cold start to the second half. No points on the board yet. Yeah. Timber Creek has nothing but a free throw.
Yeah, cold start for both teams. And once again, just mention, if you're Wekiva, you certainly do not like that. But they are in a far better position with the 20-plus point lead to absorb that slow start. Oh, shaking off the defender. That was Spence. Can't get the deuce. Windex work. And now Moffitt snags that rebound. And
still contested all the way to half court. Stripped away by Stokes. Nobody in front of her, and Michaela Stokes on the Wolves layup.
First field goal of the second half for either team. They are combined 1 of 6. So that does cut the lead to 22. Lewis, now back to Moffitt at the top, going down to Holiday, back out to Lewis, does not take the shot, instead slashes. McCarthy, nothing but air, saved by Timber Creek, no. Well, they save it, but to the wrong team, that's Eads, and she draws contact.
Foul is called against number 15, Brooklyn Henderson. That's her first personal foul, the team's first of the second half. Omaria Gordon returns to the game for the Mustangs.
So both these teams throwing up some bricks in the second half. Again, Wekiva shooting over 50% for this entire game, and they have cooled off considerably. And another foul. And this one's going to go against Wekiva.
Offensive block is called against Rylan Moffitt, her second, the team's fourth. That turns the ball over to the Wolves.
So Timber Creek goes back to work, down 36-14, an opportunity to get successive baskets. Have not had many of those opportunities in this game. Hand by Gordon, and it will stay with Timber Creek. Possession will stay with Timber Creek.
Coach Butts wanted a palming call there. He didn't get one.
So Timber Creek will go back to work. Dixon, top of the key, one-on-one with Gordon. Comes back to her left. And that says going to be a foul.
Tripping is called against Omaria Gordon, her third personal foul, the team's fifth.
And Mark mentioned before we went to that last break, at that time Wekiva had 3 fouls, which in itself is not a big deal, does not really give you a lot of danger. But mentioned we were only a minute and a half in, and now they have 5. The sweep through the lane, no dice, and Holiday snagging that rebound, corralling it, using those fundamental techniques of rebounding. Back the other way, Eads, extended left, one-on-one with Ortiz. She'll sweep to the right and rattles in and out. Skying for the rebound is Dixon. And now Timber Creek settles that ball down and will come back the other way.
And keep in mind, Neil, we are just about 4 minutes into the third quarter. 0 points scored by Wekiva since coming out of the locker rooms. Now they're going to catch a break with an offensive foul.
Yeah, a much
offensive screening is called against Michaela Stokes. That's her second personal foul. The team's second. It turns the ball over to the Mustangs.
Yeah, a much different start for the second half than the first for Wekiva. Mentioned that Wekiva scored 10 of the first 13 points for this game, and they got 3 turnovers and then 13 for the half.
Yeah, there was a point.
They've actually turned the ball over 4 times through the first 4 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, there was a point early in the second quarter where we were ready to say, you know what, it looks like the whole second half is going to be on a running clock. And now we're still not there, more than 4 minutes into the third quarter. So Timber Creek certainly has come up with something in the secret sauce. Meanwhile, Wekiva cooling off, and now we get held ball. Possession Mustangs. Checking into the game for Timber Creek. Number 1, Jasmine Chima.
So Lewis crosses midcourt. Wekiva, as you mentioned, Mark, still looking for its first points. And the whistle. And they will still be looking for their first points.
Foul called against number 32, Kanari Holiday, on the offensive block. Her third personal foul, the team's 6th. No basket. It turns the ball over to the Wolves. So it's too bad because that tray went in, but not until after the offensive foul occurred. So that's twice in a row, or at least twice in a few possessions, that Wekiva has lost the ball to an offensive blocking call.
Approaching 3 minutes. Score remains 36-14. Wekiva in the white jerseys on defense, and the foul drawn by Timber Creek.
Hold is called against number 0, Jade Lewis. That's her first personal foul, the team's 7th, and Karishma Ortiz will go to the line and shoot 2. So this would have been a shooting foul no matter what, but for what it's worth, the Mustangs already have bonus against them for the last 11 minutes and change of this game, as Shania McCarthy returns to the game for Wekiva. One of 2 at the line.
So Wekiva coming in, ranked 6th in all classifications, max prep ranking, 2nd in the class 6A, and certainly looking to rebound.
McCarthy, some contact, and we're going to get a whistle there. Hit is called against number 15, Brooklyn Henderson. It's her second personal foul, the team's 3rd. It sends Shania McCarthy to the line, shooting 2. So now finally Wekiva catches a break. They'll go to the free throw line, still looking for their first points of the third quarter. 5 minutes gone, and now they are on the board, which is not to say that Timber Creek has been especially hot either. They only have 1 field goal and 2 free throws.
Yeah, the reason that I brought up the rankings was because you don't see a team as highly ranked as Wekiva struggling to score this deep into a half as they have.
Now Kanari Holiday picks it up after it's knocked away by McCarthy. And a good bounce pass, but McCarthy was a little ahead of it. And there's the turnover at the baseline.
So both teams with 5 turnovers now, 2.5 before the end of the third quarter.
Tiara Coleman into the game for the Mustangs. Annalise Rios in for Timber Creek.
Wekiva going with a full court trap.
And dumping it behind her. Henderson there. Narrowly avoids the travel call, but it doesn't matter because McCarthy picks it up anyway.
Over to Gordon, short, sweeping for the rebound is Holiday. All kinds of body crashing onto the floor and a whistle.
Hold is called against Wolves, number 15, Brooklyn Henderson, her third personal foul. The team's fourth. And that will send the Mustangs to the free throw line. Kenari Holiday shooting 2. So they're going to say Holiday was going up there, so we've got some shots first.
Wekiva has continued to rebound the ball well, though, despite the turnovers. They have 8.
And that's what they teach you in high school basketball school, that even if you have absolutely no chance of making it, if you know you're in the process of drawing a foul, put the ball up. Like, make a shooting motion at the basket so that you'll at least get some free throws. Holiday not able to convert those, though. And now Rylan Moffitt returns to the game for Wekiva. They will pick up the offensive team rebound, though. And so they'll get another shot at this.
2:21 before third quarter. Inbounding to Coleman, one-on-one with Gina. Coleman brings it up to the top of the key now. Extended right to McCarthy, the senior. She'll drive, take it back out. Moffitt. Again, Wekiva slowing down that pace in terms of the shot selection, how quickly they're shooting. The give and go. That's Coleman now to Gordon. Under 2 minutes, and now Eads. Back to McCarthy. McCarthy sweeps through that lane, the flashes, and looked like someone got a hand on it.
Yeah, no body-to-body contact, though. It'll stay with Wekiva.
So 1:45 remaining now.
Returning to the game for Timber Creek, number 3, Isabella Spence.
And again, Wekiva coming in off of their lone loss as Moffitt gets the ball, spins.
Shania McCarthy to Rylan Moffitt for the Mustang basket.
And there's Wekiva's first field goal of the second half. They're 1 of 6 now. 6 shots, of course, as the ball goes down. Timber Creek rejected. That was Warren trying to take the shot. I couldn't see who got a hand on it. There were 3
I think it was
Wekiva Mustangs. Yeah, regardless, 3 Wekiva Mustangs certainly clogged up that baseline. So again, only 6 shots taken by Wekiva. Long range, the tray, no dice. Coleman brings it down behind the back. The long outlet to Lewis, who cannot get the deuce to drop. McCarthy doing Windex work, and she draws the foul. So real quick again, 6 shots is part of the reason Wekiva's not scored only 3 points in the second half.
Shanisha Stokes is called on her second personal foul, the team's 5th, and that one will send Shania McCarthy to the line, shooting 2 for the Mustangs.
And again, Mark, you don't have to be a basketball guru, just common sense that the more field goal attempts you take, the more likely you are to put points on the board. Again, Wekiva with only 6 in this third quarter as the rebound pulled down by Timber Creek, and will come back the other way. One minute remaining. Timber Creek with possession, looking to cut into a 40-15 lead. That's Chena taking the ball out to the top, guarded by Moffitt. So again, seen this throughout the game, that slow, that more deliberate pace in terms of when you shoot. 45 seconds remaining. And again, going back to the Pickerton Central loss, as Moffitt slaps the ball away and would come back the other way. The last opportunity for Wekiva if they so choose. They're not going to, as Coleman launches, slides off that rim out of bounds. Ball will remain with Wekiva. Wekiva came out, just like in this game, against Pickerington Central of Ohio. They were the proverbial house of fire.
Zariah Hercule checks into the game for the Mustangs.
Shooting over 70%, and by the time the game ended, they were around 40%. Again, we've seen that here in this third quarter. So McCarthy slips around and withdraws.
McCarthy and 1. Foul called against number 1, Jasmine Chima. Her 4th personal foul, the team's 6th. Checking into the game for her, for Timber Creek, is number 0, Sarah Decay, and McCarthy shooting 1.
18.6 seconds left. So certainly that's some momentum for Wekiva, but also some semblance of finding their shooting again. And the palming.
Mustangs ball. That was the call Coach Butts wanted a few minutes ago. He got it now.
12.2 seconds remaining. Wekiva, despite their struggles from the field, have an opportunity to close out this quarter strong. McCarthy can't get the, I guess you call that the windmill shot, but doing Windex work is Moffitt. And she will go to the line.
Foul called against number 35, Alicia Williams. That's her first personal foul, the team's 7th. Rylan Moffitt at the line, shooting 2.
So despite the drop in the field goal percentage as well as the turnovers, Wekiva continues to rebound the ball well. And that has given them several opportunities at the free throw line. And 6 seconds left for Timber Creek. One last opportunity. Spence trying to make something happen. Hands off to Rios.
3 for Annalise Rios. And that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. We're ready to start the fourth quarter. 25-point ball game.
Yeah, Coach Russ. Yeah, he was ejected in the JV game. Right. Thank you.
So again, a 25-point ball game to start, and the Wolves have the opening possession of the fourth period.
And let's give Timber Creek credit, Mark. As we've mentioned a couple of times, we were talking midway through that second quarter as the whistle blows. Timber Creek looked like, looked like we were going to have a running clock.
Hand check is called against Jade Lewis, her second, the team's 8th. That puts the Wolves into bonus at the line, shooting 1-1, Annalise Rios.
So Rios with 3 points at the line, and she will remain with 3 points. Holiday snagging that rebound. Come back the other way. That's McCarthy launching off the heel. Moffitt scrapping for that rebound, and she'll reset, send it back up where the offense is reset. Moffitt now, the 12-foot turnaround, no, but Holiday. Windex work, bank, +1.
Canary Holiday, and 1. Foul called against Alicia Williams, her second, the team's 8th.
So Holiday at the line, gets the roll for the +1. And Wekiva ups that lead to 46-18, 30 seconds into the fourth quarter. And you might have heard when we come back or we go out that we're getting some old tunes here, some classic tunes. Of across the board as Lewis picks up that loose ball. No, she does not. Had it for a minute, but then Timber Creek.
But as you mentioned, Neil, this is the Old School Jam Classic as we get a 3-point basket from Annalise Rios to open up fourth quarter scoring for the Wolves. This is an annual tradition, was started by Coach Butts and Coach Lubin a few years ago, where we invite a team for some Saturday basketball games. We do a quadruple header, and all of the music here in the arena, as the name implies, are old school jams. So we did round ball rock during the starting lineups, and we've been doing old school jams during all the timeouts. Of course, you don't get to hear any of that. We have to go out of our way to make sure that you don't hear any of that, to make sure we stay on the right side of copyright guidelines for YouTube and the NFHS network. But we get a Isabella Spence deuce for the Wolves, but our fans here in the arena are getting treated to some classic jams this afternoon.
Yeah, the day began with 2 junior varsity games, and it ends with 2 varsity games. The boys won their varsity game, and the girls, barring what would be a tremendous comeback as Moffitt spins, can't get the withdrawal. The girls are going to up their record to 15-1.
And to your point, Neil, while Wekiva certainly cooled off in the locker rooms and has lost their mojo sort of here in the second half, you do have to give credit to Timber Creek that they have not opened up easy shots the way that they had in the first half, the current one notwithstanding. Shania McCarthy on the Mustangs layup. 14 points for her as we dip under 5.5 minutes. Coast to coast, not there for Spence.
Eads. Pass, too much oomph. Outthought the room there, was trying to make that pass in midair. The 7th turnover in this first half for Wekiva. Both teams with 7 turnovers. And mentioned throughout this game, Wekiva scored 10 of the first 13 points, and one of the key factors, perhaps at least chronologically, those 10 of 13 points began with the turnover. They forced 3 turnovers in those first 5 possessions and 13 from Timber Creek for the first half. Much different story. Again, both teams with 7 turnovers in the second half as we approach 5 minutes remaining. I'm Neil Fisher. Mark Barchi, who's also handling our public address duties as he has for all 15 years. No dice. Holiday banging down low, but will not be able to come up with it. And we also have a foul.
Kanari Holiday is called on the bump. That's her 4th personal foul, the team's 9th, and it sends the Wolves to the line. Karishma Ortiz shooting 1-1.
And as Mark mentioned, 9 fouls on Wekiva, so Timber Creek will be in bonus the rest of the way.
In fact, they'll be in double bonus after this.
Yeah, excuse me, I meant double bonus. Timber Creek is in the single bonus.
Yes, that's one of the things they teach you in clock operator school is you don't put up the double bonus indicator until after the consequences of the 6th and 9th fouls have been administered. Otherwise, you confuse the officials.
So back to live action now. Holiday taking the ball down low. She goes to work and slides. Oh, hung on that rim. A loose ball. Heat slashes through, picks it up, and uses her 4th to make the withdrawal.
Floats in the deuce. 16 points for Jada Eads today. Not any surprise to see her leading the Mustangs scoreboard.
Wekiva continues to rebound well, 17, and now the turnover forced.
Offensive illegal screening is called against Brooklyn Henderson. That's her 4th personal foul, the team's 9th. No bonus shots for offensive fouls, but it turns the ball over to the Mustangs.
And as Mark just mentioned, 9 fouls on Timber Creek, so both teams in the double bonus the rest of the way. As Eads extended right, back to Hercule, seeing some extended action. Back up to McCarthy. 4 minutes remaining. Not only in this game, but the old school jam. That's McCarthy, actually Hercule, back to Gordon. McCarthy down low to Coleman, who flashes, sweeps across. Can't make the withdrawal. And picking up the loose ball, Timber Creek, good job of doing the rebounding, crashed that board hard, and now McCarthy making life difficult in the backcourt. Timber Creek does eventually get that ball across midcourt, and they will set up the offense. Wekiva in the 2-3 zone. They switched between man-to-man in the zone, which is typical. We've seen that for all 15 games. 3.5 remaining. Timber Creek, again with that deliberative pace in terms of when they shoot. Now going back is Ortiz, and bodies crashing to the paint, the hardwood, and a whistle blown by the refs.
Hold is called against Karishma Ortiz, her second personal foul, the team's 10th. It puts the Mustangs into double bonus. At the line shooting 2, number 23, Zariah Hercule.
So Hercule will go to the line looking for her first points of the game. The 5'6" sophomore guard. So now if you're Coach Butts with just over 3 minutes remaining, I think the question has to be, can you sustain the answers, the positive answers you got in that first half? As the second free throw rims in and out.
Yeah, because the Mustangs' first half performance, that can keep up with, say, a Lake Highland Prep.
Yeah.
The second half performance, probably not.
Yeah, we began this broadcast talking about their last game, which was their lone loss. That was the Pickerington Central of Ohio, and that was in the championship game of the Florida Prospects Christmas tournament.
30-second timeout is called by the Wolves.
They gave up 2 leads, including the last one with under a minute, and so they came out looking like they have positive answers, and now they slow down in the second. And back to live action. Wekiva has led throughout this game. 50-24 is the lead now as we approach 3 minutes remaining. And before that half, we talked about, really, Wekiva came out like the proverbial house of fire, looking to answer some questions after their lone loss. And then, of course, the game against Jones, which was scheduled for Wednesday, was postponed at the last minute. So not only answers, but some rust, and that's the word that Coach Butts used. He didn't really know if they were going to still have some at rust, and they had to shake it off. But since this second half has been, to put it mildly, lackluster for Wekiva.
Foul called against Mustangs, Zariah Hercule. That's her first personal foul, the team's 10th. Now the Wolves are in double bonus at the line shooting 2, Isabella Spence.
And you can take any of the stats you want, Mark, and you can just see a tremendous difference. The one stat, though, that has not changed in terms of Wekiva really being strong and dominating is the rebounding. They've rebounded 18 rebounds to 9 for Timber Creek. And that has really been the difference in terms of them being able to at least maintain a 20-plus point lead. Again, to put it mildly, a lackluster performance in the second half for Wekiva. They came out the first 2 or 3 minutes, were unable to score as the travel. And there's another example, the 8th of this half for Wekiva. And they just have never really been able to shake off that start, really find their footing, so to speak. And the question, again, is if you're Coach Butts, you're looking at this game as Wekiva will take possession, and you have to now figure out a way to get your team to sustain what they did in that first half for the entire 32 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows whether this is an anomaly or whether this is, an indicator of a new normal. I'd like to believe that it's an anomaly.
Yeah, and I think given their 15 or 14-1 record, certainly that's the precedent to say that this is an anomaly. And some of it might also do with the fact that you're playing Timber Creek, no disrespect intended to them, as the fadeaway from McCarthy does not drop. Possession will go to Timber Creek.
Yeah, if you look at your score by quarter, Wekiva 22, 14, 7, 7. And then Timber Creek on their side, 6, 5, 7, 7. So Timber Creek is doing as well as they did in the first half. Wekiva has cooled off considerably. And again, that is A little bit because Wekiva cooled off and a little bit because Timber Creek's defense got better.
Yeah, the intensity certainly picked up. And speaking of defense, Hercule picking up the loose ball, and there's some more of why, just unable to get those field goals. Now, again, those easy field goal percentage and transition opportunities, the number has dropped.
Foul called against number 23, Zariah Hercule. That's her second personal foul. The team will be sent back to the free throw line. Double bonus coming up for Ariana Romano. And there you see Hercule, one of the newer entries onto the varsity roster, and that is a mark of inexperience there, where she was frustrated from missing that layup opportunity.
Yeah.
And then just flat out pushed Romano down.
Yeah, and to finish my point, Mark, when Wekiva has gotten the less opportunities, Wekiva's gotten less opportunities in terms of the easy baskets and the number, but when they have gotten them, they just have not been able to convert like they did in the first half. And Hercule drains the rain.
Zariah Hercule for 3.
So the other factor I want to point out, too, again, as I said about a minute ago, no disrespect intended towards Timber Creek. They're a solid team. They come in 9-8, which actually for them is a drop. They're a team that is usually, at the very least, contending to get into the state playoffs. Wekiva and Timber Creek had a couple of very highly contested games. Of course, Wekiva beat Timber Creek in the first round en route to the 2019 state championship. And 9-8 is certainly not up to their standards, as Lewis just ripped that ball away. The pass to Gordon, who spins, can't get the deuce to drop, but Coleman doing Windex work, 45 seconds remaining. They're certainly not where you would expect them to be, and Wekiva has a number of teams that are state-ranked, top 25 coming up, including Lake Highland, in 6 days against Friday. That'll be on Thursday, so 4 days. So Wekiva will take a victory. They'll rebound from that loss to Pickerington Central of Ohio in the Florida Prospects Christmas Tournament Final. But Coach Butts cannot be happy with the effort in the second half. Wekiva scoring 10 of the first 13 points, 5 of 5 from the field, getting 5 easy shots on 3 turnovers, carrying them to the early lead. They got it up to 20-plus, but again, Coach Butts cannot be happy with the second-half effort. So that concludes Old School Jam. Mark, take us home.
It takes us to the end of the ball game and the end of the Old School Jam Classic. 53-26 is the final score here for the varsity girls game. The Mustangs taking the victory here on Saturday afternoon. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out to support your Mustang and Wolves athletes. Mustang fans, we hope that you will continue to join us as we dive deeper into the girls' basketball season. Coming up next for Wekiva, the boys will host Evans coming up on January 10th. That's in just a few days. The girls, your next opportunity to see them in action is coming up on the road. They are at Mainland on January 11th, and then you can catch them here at home on January 14th. That is a varsity-only game for the girls at 6:30 p.m., and that should be a great one against the Lake Highland Prep Highlanders. A highly anticipated game coming up there. Once again, thanks for joining us on Wekiva Sports here on YouTube or on the NFHS Network. Also, special thanks to Wekiva Broadcast Production for lending us the equipment for this afternoon's game. And a correction to what I said a moment ago, it is 4:30 and 7:30 the boys will play, and then the girls will play at 6 o'clock on January 14th. So a little bit earlier than the original posted times. That's your next chance to catch the girls at home. My thanks to Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. This is Mark Archie, the voice of the Mustangs. Wishing you a good afternoon and a great rest of your weekend. This has been a presentation of Wekiva High School Athletics in association with Orange Technical College, both a proud part of Orange County Public Schools. good afternoon from Mustang Arena.